to mind. I'm thinking about self-concept. What is the real identity of oneself? Because it's not necessarily what you do with your hands, is what it's building up into. I think about self-reliance. I think about the separation from praises and criticisms, because that's not what leadership is all about. That makes for an unstable leader, and so you will be swayed with the economic uncertainties that will be coming. I think about I've talked about self-concept, self-reliance. I think about self-estimation. That's what we normally call self-esteem. All right. So when we're talking about self-esteem, because it's a word largely thrown around, and really also spoken about people who have gone through mental health. Self-esteem is how you've estimated yourself as per what your core purpose is. Okay, what your core purpose is. So when I think about that, when there's overestimation, what we normally call ego and all of that, and somebody's leadership is now a bit, crumbled up like paper, that overestimation really stems from fear of people.
Interesting.
And underestimation comes from lack of vision. So if that has not been met, then you will find a lot of people bent over. So I guess what I'm trying to really build into all of this, I get pained a lot when I see or meet people live below their potential. Yeah, it sort of gives me that feeling like I need to do something. I need to get up and think about. So I'm dealing with the mindset, the heart thereof. Because then, if the young people are supposed to drive the economic what stance of the country and Africa forward, then why are we talking about leadership? Let me pause there.
Wow, you've gone so hard, but I want to jump in real quick, Daphne, because when you read the news these days, there's a lot of information about how Kenyan youth especially are going through a sense of apathy. Probably because of the economy and many other factors, you know what I mean, the mental health, So when you're talking about leadership, and you know very well that these guys are disgruntled, they have a sense of hopelessness. So how do you even start? I mean, what are some of the practical ways that they can go about, rediscovering themselves and having a sense of vision, so that they can be, my dad usually says, leaders even without a title.
Powerful. Look at you, going straight into do you read the same books that I read? I'm liking that. But now, if I may just come closer home to that. You see, number one, let me start off this way. Sometimes when you want to know somebody's leadership is beckoning, is when they get angry. In fact, everybody is a leader. That's why even the most silent person, push comes to shove, they will react, because that's their leadership. They're almost like, what do I call it, self-government, calling out for, hey, by the way, I can actually do A, B, C, just give me the chance, hear me out. So now when we talk about a disgruntled people, a disgruntled community, I normally like to look around, because I like what you said. Leadership is actually a journey of self-discovery. Nobody can tell you what your leadership trait is, only you can. So what normally happens, or what we normally do, is sort of like we create such an environment to allow you to answer particular pertinent questions. Okay, so who am I? What's my identity? Where am I from? What's my heritage? Where am I going? What's the hope I'm looking forward to? All right, because that disgruntledness is the blurry vision that goes, so where are we going? And you're telling me ABC. Nobody likes that. That's why most people are inspired by visionary leaders. We want to follow in the same pursuit of passion that you have, because in your passion, I get my passion. It's sort of like your fire, sort of like burns mine out as well. You see, that's why most corporates, right, what are they experiencing right now? I've seen and I've heard a lot of CEOs going for meetings, and they're calling Gen Z leaders to find out, how can we work with you guys? Because what they experience is a turnover rate that is high. But why is that? Because they're looking for new opportunities. What does that tell you? They're looking sight. They want to see. They're looking for a vision. What are we building into? So who am I? Where am I going? Where am I from? What am I supposed to do? What is my potential? So everything that we are doing, including, for example, the leadership development program that we're telling you about, is to enable somebody to be able to answer those questions. And let me shock you, these questions, also people who are in midlife crisis, 40, 50, some of them have not gotten a chance to
answer. I can imagine.
This question.
After all these years.
And so as I finish, I was just eating lunch somewhere, and a particular lady, I like saying hi, I'm very out there. And so she just comes randomly to sit where I'm having lunch, and she starts telling me what has happened through her entire work life process and all of that, how she feels drained and she hasn't accomplished, and she's thinking, do you know her last statement? Because you see, I'm very vocal, oh, we're doing this, you can partner here, we can work together here. Her last statement, and this got me thinking. She said, listen, don't stop what you were doing, you have my answer. Think about it now broadly. It means also the older generation is looking to the younger generation to answer questions of dreams they were not able to toothpick. That's exactly it. So that disgruntledness has to be harnessed in matters. How can we develop? I'm not talking about the practical skilling. That's handiwork. Let's talk about mindset. Let's talk about where we are going. Let's talk about what we are building toward. Because I'm not totally against the vibe and the energy. What it just shows me is potential to build.
I like that. Kevin.
Yeah.
How would you describe the current state of leadership when it comes to younger Kenyans? We're so excited about the youth. We're saying, the youth are going to be at the forefront of the change that we deserve.
Right?
Yeah.
But from your observation in the corporate space, the political space, the religious space, sports, athletes, artists, if you can sum it up, bro.
Yeah.
As a young leader, how would you describe this phase that we're in terms of our leadership phase? How would you describe what's going on?
I think we're at a very critical stage where we need to actually define, we as the young people, where we are going to take ourselves as leaders. Because what we have experienced mostly here in Kenya is we have very selfish type of leadership approach, where people are not thinking long term, they're not thinking about the nation, they're not thinking about where we are going, which is a challenge actually mostly in Africa. Is people that just think about themselves. If they're thinking, how will this advance my interest? Now, if we can shift that as the young people, and I think we have that heart as we speak right now, we're looking at how can we make our nation better. We keep talking about us being tribes, building communities. That's the right mindset. Now, what we need to do is not allow the system to hijack us and swallow us up, because you find that the system, especially in this country, it's very frustrating. You find that even young people will get into positions of power. They started very well.
Yeah.
Like they had the vision. They knew what we are all about. The moment they interact with these older guys,
I know, man. Somehow they just forget everything.
They are swallowed up.
Yeah.
Into the, and there's no way you can change that system when you're working from that level. I think we're at a good stage where we can leverage on our numbers, leverage on us.
That's true.
As a people, and change the narratives ourselves.
JP.
I feel like Stephanie had something burning.
Yeah, I did. So we've been nurtured to think that leaders are born and not made. And then there's other people who think that leaders are made and not born. And I usually think that, leaders are born, but it's a situation that makes them. But what's your perspective on that?
Oh, man. First of all, like I said, anybody and everybody it was called to be a leader.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way. Let me tell you why. I don't believe that there's that separation of leaders are born, leaders are made.
Right.
Yeah. Let me just equalize that right now, currently. And when I talk about a leader, let me tell you what it means, or rather the capacity of leadership now showing forth. See, if person A gets to discover, how do I put it, a gift, sort of like a core... Do I call it gift? Do you understand why I call it gift? A talent that is now serving generations.
Yeah.
And they have mastered it, and they have figured out, this is what I'm going to use to sacrifice to serve the larger good of generations after me. And you so develop it, such as you're the kingpin in your field.
Yeah.
You're a leader, honey. You're a leader. Because what it means, when I say everybody, is because everybody has a field of greatness. Field of expertise. It could be that we're all working in the same office, all working in the same company. Your leadership field is not my own. Yeah, that is why we could be working in the same office, but your traits, your personality, what you are, your proclivities are, what you like, what irritates you, totally different from mine. Yet we're all serving one particular vision. Now, unless I figure out exactly what my gift, let me use myself for an example, right? I'm known and I'm told that I have the gift of gab. I can talk a lot.
We agree.
Right? Yeah.
We agree.
Say I.
You're like the female version of Andrew Tate. And I love it. I like it. It's very attractive. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So ideally, now once I've discovered that I have gift of gab, now I have to sort of like figure out exactly where's my gift of gab gonna prove value.
Yeah.
And so my field is with young people, informal settlements, universities, and in what exactly? Leadership development. I'm not the only one doing leadership development, but in my line of work, what am I doing to actually make sure the people that encounter or come close to my gift have sort of like been impacted to become something better than I naturally believe I cannot meet somebody once, twice without leaving an indelible mark. Then I will not sleep okay. I'll probably even follow up. Hey, did you have any questions after we had this session? Like, did you learn something? Did you grow? So everybody is a leader once they figure out what their actual gift is. Now that's where a lot of competition, a lot of fighting for spaces comes in, because people have not figured that out. So once you see, I mean, I'm cute like her, I'm pretty like her, I'm as strong as him, I'm as learned, I probably have more papers, and looks like they're moving forward, it becomes, no, I can too. So that sort of like grazing and abrasion and friction really sort of like bows out somebody's leadership capacity to really influence us with what is your true gift.
It's actually good that you spoke about that, because in relation to this question, in a corporate society, you'll find that most of the older generation and the well-established in there will try and damn down or like tune out the younger generation coming in, and so you find there's an internal fight where they're trying to rise up to managerial positions, but they're being told hush up, you know, wait for your turn, this isn't how it happens. And it's led to a point where companies are looking to hire back the older people who are retired and get rid of the Gen Zs who've just come in. So what would you tell a company who's having that situation going on?
No, don't do that. let me put it this way, and in fact you should say that, but this is what my belief system is concerning that, and it's going to require a lot of wisdom and practice from both generations, from the older and the younger, to take the nation forward or to put into practice what we call national development, that's the common good. Then the older generation has to be accommodative of the younger, new, because this is what innovation is all about. And by the way, innovation is what is going to take us forward, right? And this is what innovation, I'm taking the old and I'm combining it with the new to solve both old and current problems.
It's collaborative.
It's that's it. It's collaborative. There can't be that sort of like active like dissonance. It can't be there. Because then what we are trying to say, there will be such a tear in the society, such a tear in culture, such a tear in future goals and ambitions of where the country is going, let alone that, even alphas and betas that are coming, the generation alpha, beta that is coming. And so this is what I mean. When even as we're working with corporates, because our niche is, hey, by the way, you're working with younger people, I'm pretty sure you really don't know how to handle them, right? Whilst you're inside that, allow us to work with them in a leadership development program, see how much of value there will be, but also we need a meeting with the older, faculty that has been there for quite a while, because that space has to be created for them, or they will fight for it.
I want to jump to Kevin right now, because still on this, on your question, Steph. It's interesting, Jana, we were talking about this whole culture shift, in the sense that actually, most corporate leaders think Gen Zs are not as resilient in the corporate space. They're kind of soft, always complaining, and they just came up with this whole thing for mental health, and so it's kind of annoying, you know what I mean? The status quo has always been there and it's been thriving, so why would we want to shift? Why do you want to shake? Why would you want to shake things up? And it's been working all along. Do you know what I mean? So I guess my question is, how can we there's an opportunity over there. You know what I mean? But there's also like a problem that I guess most corporates don't know how to deal with when it comes to the Gen Zs and, transitioning them into the corporate culture. How can they sort this thing out?
I think it comes with the territory of different generations. Number one, change is inevitable. But if there's one thing we are most resistant to as human beings, is change. And let me just explain. Generation is two words: gene and rationale.
Wow.
So it's how different generations think. There's a way Gen Zs think and young millennials think. We are more objective in terms of, if I'm coming to work, you want me here 8 to 5. I've probably just worked for 3 hours, delivered on what I was supposed to deliver. Why am I still here? I could do something more productive out there. But you see, the previous generation is more used to, I wake up at 5:30, I will leave job at 5 p.m. It's not necessarily on the productivity. It's just that there's a culture that was created, and it comes with also the systems that used to be there before.
So there's nothing like, there's one generation that's softer. It's just that maybe
I believe we're actually more resilient than them, because they're more accommodative to being pushed down. I have found the older generation is more like they will be pushed down. Their bosses will be rude to them.
That's true.
We'll stand on our ground. I'm like, I'm not taking that.
You're a Gen Z?
No, I'm a millennial.
Oh, when you say we, I was wondering. Okay. Because I was referring to Gen Zs. Yeah. So they're going to stand on their ground, 10 toes to the ground. They'll be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, this does not make sense, because that's the thing that comes with new generations.
Yes.
They will challenge the things that you allow to just...
Correct.
Rationale.
The rationale you had, where you allowed things that don't make sense to just go by. They will come and ask, so you say you believe in this. Why do you believe in the thing you believe? So the gaps that are in between there, like you find the older generation, like those that may be Christians, Muslims, or whichever affiliation of religion they are in, a Gen Z will come and ask you, or even as some of us millennials.
Even millennials,
they will come and, why do you believe this thing that you believe? And you find it becomes an issue of contention, or it's something that agitates them. But I'm asking you so that I understand. Why do you believe what you believe? Because if you don't have a reasoning behind what you believe, why do you expect me to believe
it's interesting you're putting it like that, because it's even down to the family, where you have the younger ones, the Gen Zs, and even millennials, some. They're going to question their folks. They'll be like, yo, Dad, why do I have to go why do I have to go to church?
All right.
You know what I mean? I don't feel like, because I don't believe in such and such. You know what I mean? So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, it's almost like a culture shock.
Yes.
Between the older and the younger. Whereas, like you said, they used to wake up early. Now the younger's like, why? Like, I can do the same amount of work.
The same thing.
Even more work than you're doing.
Yeah.
So I had you mention Vusi, so I'm assuming that's Vusi Thembakwaya, the South African guy. So I just wanted to ask you guys, what are some of these influential mentors that you have, that you've been looking up to?
Vusi is actually going to be here next week, Monday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, SpiceFM. You know how I'll be.
Yeah, so that would be amazing. Actually, I'm really excited about that. Yes. What are some of these? Who are some of these influential mentors that you guys have worked with? And then, secondly, just to throw it out there, when it comes to technology, what are some of the digital tools that you guys have used, maybe leveraged on, to create some of these leadership development programs that you have?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So when we're talking about, I like that you put it that way. Who are these mentors that you have been looking up to? Because like I said earlier, it boils down to that collaborative effort.
Right.
There's some things I need to borrow from the older generation of people that went ahead. First of all, number one, to cut down the process, because I'm not trying to. If you went through such a route, I don't need to do that. I just need to learn from your mistakes, and that will help me. So anyway, so some of the mentors that we've been really looking up to and also working with. Funny you should say that. There's also an event that we are doing.
Oh wow!
On March 15th.
Right.
And we'll be holding it at Nairobi Cinema.
Wow!
And the whole purpose is that we're trying to bring that intergenerational discussion. So mentors such as PLO Lumumba, are going to be there. Nyawera Gashugi representing millennials and stuff.
Very
Brian
nice.
Yambengo representing Gen Zs. Right? And so we're working with Astan Jao, because we want to understand how exactly were you able to navigate cleaning the airwaves, to navigate even media such as that. We've worked with people like Hannah Githuki in Matters Visionary Leadership. Dr. Wale Akenyami in Matters Leadership as well has been really working with us. And see, what I like to do in such spaces, I'm saying, so when we were holding such a summit, and we are all this, it's going to be really, really packed with different universities.
Right.
And this was actually demographic, different young people in universities, young people who are leading organizations, and also people that have gone ahead and have done it, because we're trying to sit down and borrow notes and see how we can replicate it ourselves. So when we do this, I'm able, or they're able, to pick out concepts refine them,
Right.
put it back out into the market. So these are some of the mentors that we've been working with.
Amazing.
Quite frankly, so much so. Oh, and I should say, because mentorship is not only by proximity, also by books.
Yeah.
I read a lot of Miles Monroe.
Yes.
Leadership in government. Yeah,
Yes.
you do? Yeah. One of my most fantastic pioneering mentors, if I may just put it that way. I
Right.
read a lot of him, and informs a lot of how I think, my rationale in corporates, and also once we're working with people who are looking at integrity and corporate values.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Kevin?
Me, Vusi, as you said.
Yeah.
I like Vusi Temekwai a lot. Also Patrick Bet-David. I really like his approach in matters business. And not just business, even his approach concerning political issues. Like being able to... there's one thing that really bothers me, is when somebody supports one side, it's like they can't see any wrong on that side. And anything this other side does
That's
is
true.
off. You can't actually be objective and look, no, this that they're doing is good. This on my team work completely doesn't work. So I like that. I like people that can actually do that. That people can be objective. Like now, if you like in Kenya, the way we have certain people that are for ODM and they will never say anything wrong.
About, yeah. They never
That
remove their
doesn't make
speck
sense.
from their eye, should we say that? Yeah.
Those things don't make sense to me, man. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody is doing something wrong, just call it out.
That's
True.
And that's the conflict we're even having with different generations. Gen Zs are like, no, come on, man, this thing doesn't make sense. And they will call it out.
I don't know why it's so hard for leaders, certain people to just say, "Oh, interesting. I didn't look at it from that angle."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we would like it would
Like
be so,
accept
Yeah,
things
just
that are
accept you're
happening.
wrong.
Yeah.
Ama you're learning. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
With
it
your
also comes
perspective.
with
yeah.
the older generation is into narratives.
Okay.
As long as I can twist a narrative, like, I don't know if it's okay if I get in trouble, but
Fam, it's a no judgment zone here.
Yeah.
Put it out
yeah,
the way
like
you want to.
the interview with Mehdi Hassan,
Okay, okay.
like you can see, like how everybody can see the facts on the
Stats and
table.
facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still trying to twist a narrative. It's like you have a cognitive dissonance. You can't really see what is happening.
It's so true.
Like even the person is like they believe their own story.
True.
Tunnel vision. Yeah.
Like if you're being checked with facts, sit back and look. Okay, get outside yourself and be like, you know what, this stuff is not making sense.
Yeah. So let's talk about technology just for a minute. I just want to know how you guys are leveraging on technology and what you guys are doing in these leadership programs.
I think for me, maybe I think I'm wanting need to do that. Like when we develop these leadership programs, like when she was talking, you asked about leadership. I believe there are people that are born with the quote unquote leadership traits that people are into, the more extroverted people.
Right.
And then there's people like me, I'm an introvert. And my skills of leadership are I'm not necessarily out there, but I'm more structural, more into design and more stuff like that. So technology, and I work with AI quite a lot. I will work with ChatGPT, I will work with DeepSeek to check on the things that I'm training on,
Right.
to like even develop the curriculums.
Awesome.
So I'll come
Nice.
up with the concept. We'll come up with the concepts after, because what we do, when we work with the people on ground, we work with people like in informal settlements. We'll see what the challenges are, what is going on, what has been the story, what has been done in other countries,
Right.
and then I will do my research with AI. I will go to the university students, because sometimes although there are some guys from the ghettos that are in unis and others that are not, and I will see how are these people tackling the problems, what are the issues, and then I'll come together, work with different tools with AI to come up with a solution. Then we try it out on ground, reason it out together, and then we come up with something concrete together.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned the ghetto, because I know you guys also work with the youth from the ghetto.
Yeah.
What's your biggest insight when it comes to, these young, amazing Kenyans, very smart guys,
Yeah.
engaging with your program, for example?
Yeah.
What did you learn about them?
Oh man. Wow. Number one, they're not dumb.
Never.
Never dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's usually the understand. Oh, you're working in informal settlements. Oh no, sit with them. They will educate you, right? So my greatest insight whilst working with them, I think when we even started working with them, because you see, I say that not out as an outsider,
Correct.
as somebody who started there.
Yeah.
Started very empathetically, because
Yeah.
I thought, oh man, look at this, the conditions, look at this guys. And then I just had a nice sit down in a kibandaski mahali with nice small kachai kandazi, and then we are talking. And so number one, I think most of them are even smarter than I am. And so once I see that, I see a lot of persistence in them, and I respect that. And I think that's what drew me to let's cultivate this, because a lot the conditions. And by the way, we started looking at different countries. I think it was Malawi as well. Some certain innovations started coming out of people in informal settlements because they have been trained to survive.
Yeah, it pushes them to the edge.
Pushes them to the edge. So they're thinking, let me break out of this thing and do something abnormal, innovative.
Wow.
And so these guys, my greatest insight with them, they're strong, very intelligent. Guys know what they want, and they know real from fake.
Eesh.
They know real from fake. And was I even counting? Whatever number that is. But also they value family. They value family. And when I say family, I'm not talking blood. I'm talking, be my friend as we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
Let's be boys. Let's talk. Don't come and say, oh, we are doing this leadership development. I'll sit down. No. Engage me as fam. So a lot of times when we're doing these programs, you'll find we are doing a lot of things you will think that we've been living with them for the longest time. I even started considering that way. So we're going out to lunch together, any event we're going together, taking photos, eating together. So it becomes we're even joking around, telling stories. There's no gap in the sense I'm higher, you're lower.
Yeah.
It's I want to develop you as you develop me yourself.
Yes.
So that's a lot of what I've learned from these guys.
Yeah. I want to wrap up with one final question.
Sure.
I admire your communication skills.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, thanks.
And I also know for a leader to be powerful,
Communicate.
you need to be a very good communicator. So what are some of the ways one can actually develop good communication skills? How can you be like such a powerful communicator and get people's attention and leave an impact in their lives and whatever you're trying to communicate?
Yeah. Interesting.
And how did you actually get there?
I'm laughing because somebody just asked me today.
Yeah.
Saw a video I have done talking about this particular event, and then just asked me, how did you get to be this eloquent?
Yeah.
It's interesting how you've just listen. I'm not trying to toot your horn, but that's very fantastic, and I really commend you for that.
That's all. That's
But
right, yeah.
when we're talking about communication skills as a leader, number one, it's primary.
Yeah.
And number two, this is how I got here. So when I think about communication skills, or whether especially as a leader, because when you're communicating a vision. You're not just communicating to get a response or communicating to get a reaction. I am communicating a vision for you to buy into it. So number one, I told this particular gentleman, and I'm going to share it here as well. To be a powerful communicator, number one, it starts with, what is my conviction, first of all? Notice why I say this, because I didn't start out this way. Naturally, before, I used to stutter, really talk quickly so I can get out of the space. Rush through it, and then maybe giggle a lot, making the whole room awkward or cracking unnecessary jokes. And so I'm living there. I've not really communicated what I really wanted to communicate until I found my message.
Yes.
What's my message? Yeah, there's a topic I've been given. Yeah, I'm probably corporate moderating. Yeah, and all of that. But what's my message? In between that, what am I trying to communicate? So I got first of all find out my conviction. I told him, once I am convicted with the message that I am communicating, it doesn't matter whether I'm talking to one person or 1,000. It will be standard, because my mind is on what am I communicating. Because as you're communicating, I should probably also say this: every time you're communicating a vision, you're building. That's brick and mortar. You're building, because once you have replicated it into people's minds, they go and replicate it. Man, you've built a network of the same ideology. You've built a language. You built a system, because when you talk about systems, it's people, places, things like that. Number two, practice. Yeah, so and mostly practice in my meditation. So before I go and speak, I'm just imagining myself doing it. I'm imagining the way I'll crack this joke this way that is informed by my message. I will imagine how I'll probably pick somebody out from the crowd, get them to stand up, get them to engage with me. Yeah, something like that. Number 3, preparation.
Yeah, you got to prepare.
Prepare the information.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, when they get scared speaking in front of people, it's because they actually didn't prepare the information. So
I agree.
the perception in their mind is they're not prepared, and they're freaking out that people will actually notice that out. So that's why when they're trying to speak it really quickly, or they're not able, or they fumble, they're in their head, they're thinking, man, imposter syndrome, they can see. So it's like, I can't, I'm out of here. And then later, when you really look back, you're thinking, but how was I not able to deliver that? It's preparation. You have sat down with what you wanted to do. Remember, I've talked about it. You have your message. You have practiced it. Now prepare it. Get the necessary data, the information. Sit on it. Go through it as though you are actually the one who is being trained in that. Yeah, so that now it becomes in your mind. So what happens if you actually go to speak and your phone goes off? Your tap goes off. The screens are not working. There is no electricity. What I'm saying, I think I'm mentioning this. It normally says I notice this a lot, even if I'm in a meeting or in a session and people are copy moderating, and there's such a gap in steamer, in the things like that, the technical, adversities that happen in that particular moment, and there's such a halt in the atmosphere. Because the person who's actually speaking, you're creating the atmosphere of the room, right? So you're holding at ransom what people are thinking, the energy, what they're feeling. So it's either you ride above it or you go under it or get out of there. Because now when there's just that gap, and then it's becoming, what are we doing now? What are we actually saying? What are we communicating? Then it becomes, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because they actually sat that as a community to listen to somebody. Carry it through. Get some engagements. I like one-on-one. Once, a lot of times, if you actually see me talking in front of people, I talk to them one-on-one. I'll see you in the crowd.
Yeah.
I focus on you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I focus on you until
Yeah.
we get the information out to every other person, and they'll feel like they've been a part of it. And lastly, just do it.
Yeah. You don't think too much.
Don't think too much. Just
Yeah.
get out there and do it. That's how I got here.
What about your PMA, your positive mental attitude? You come off as so sharp and grounded, eh?
Oh, man.
Yeah. How did you work this thing out when guys out here are so stressed? You seem like you have it all figured out.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm an energy.
It's true, man. True.
I can listen to you on and on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's far.
And he loves talking, so you can imagine if
You-
Kev
you
wants
know
to
what I
listen to
mean?
you.
Yeah.
Yo, that's big.
It's a big...
Yeah.
Awesome. So, my mental attitude, number 1. First of all, I have this... Let me speak about... Can I personalize it? Can I make it subjective?
Sure thing.
I have this resilient sort of like warrior attitude in my head. Yeah, it's like I owe it to myself not to allow. How deep can I go with this?
As deep as you want to go.
Right, let me use this example. So I think it was 2022, my dad passed on, right? And as soon as he's passed on, whilst his almost final words as he's coming to work with me is, "You are my strength. You are my strength." I'm thinking, what do you mean I'm your strength? Because he was a bit frail at the time. Now, please, I'm not trying to dim the mood down. Can we just lift it up?
No, we are inspired. What are you talking about?
Okay.
This information is so necessary.
Okay.
You're necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so my dad had passed on, and meanwhile, we were doing the program in the informal settlements. It was, in fact, I got the news whilst going into a meeting at Strathmore University for a program. That was 2022. And so somebody called me and told me, "Hey, is this your dad?" I said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why?" It's like, he's not good. He's not here. As in, he's gone. I stopped. Do you know the first thing that came to my mind? It wasn't, let me drop it, leave it, go and check that out. I'm not trying to be funny. Please hear me out. My mind was, what brought me to this meeting, and who was it supposed to impact? Is it the greater people? Is it more people than myself? Then I will hold it. I will hold it. And I went into the meeting. We're having this meeting because in my head I'm thinking, I can't fail them. They're looking up to me as a light. So a lot of the times, and I know a lot of conversations can go, self-love. That was my self-love, because I think generationally. I think beyond Daphne. So I think if I'm needed, I was watching another particular movie, and I think, what was the name of that movie?
Soul Suffer.
Soul Suffer. And I cried in that movie because I could see myself. Not that will ever happen. Yeah, but I could see myself. The mummy gets into surfing, shark bites off her arm, and then she has to fight herself and emotion so that she's able to impact other people who don't have limbs and arms and really need to leave a legacy. So at one point she was asked, listen, where do you get this energy from? And do you really need to speak to people, as in media, the way, the way paparazzi can be a little bit invasive in their stories? And she said, what about ABC that sent me a letter and told me I inspire them because of what I had to fight? At least I tried. That's my mentality. At least I tried.
Yeah.
So even that anytime, I'm feeling very emotional right now. Anytime that the load gets a bit too heavy, my mind goes into, wow, I have to try at least for them. If I get to see that they've caught something that, from me, then my life has meaning, because I really, and I said this in a particular video I did in leadership, everyone has a debt to humanity. Everyone. Doesn't matter whether it's the rich, the poor, the old, the young.
Yeah.
And until that debt is paid, self-fulfillment is off the chart. It's off.
Yeah.
So pay it, you will see a life lived full of purpose. You die empty, and I heard another person saying they don't die empty. You will leave books, leave video recordings, leave chapters of your life legacies that will continue to outpour into people.
Beautiful
stuff. Wow, it's amazing. You guys are amazing. And I'll say it again, you're very necessary, especially right now in this day and age. We keep on talking about how Kenya is what's the word we always say? I mean, we're moving forward. We're transitioning to something else.
Right.
Yeah, and it's leaders like you and of course Kevin, who are at the forefront of this whole transition.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Sure.
And if anyone wants to partner with you or share your story, how can they reach out, Kevin?
They can reach out to us on social media. We are Itanya Youth Network on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Nice.
Or our personal accounts. Mine is Kevin Kim, TikTok, or Kimani Kevin on LinkedIn.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Daphne?
Right, to reiterate what you said concerning Itanya Youth Network, that's basically the work that we do in Matters Leadership. And also mine, Daphne Kimani, and of this event that we're doing, Youth Spark Summit. So you can find us there. Daphne Kimani runs on Instagram, TikTok, all of that. So you'll find me there.
Yeah. Good stuff. Easy, Sasa, guys. When we come back, we're going to cruise the internet.
for sure.
There's a lot of stories out there. You know where you're laughing, yeah? So I need a moment right now. Western.
This is so mesmerizing.
It's marination time. I always tell you guys, take time, marinate, Sasa.
No. I mean, I'm good. Trust me, I'm good. I mean, I'm very well. Like, I'm easy. This is my energy.
That was a powerful conversation.
Yeah, good stuff. So guys, remember the website is, of course, where you can stream. That's www.spicefm.co.ke. We're also live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. The handle is at SpiceFMKE. Right now, I've got some Western. Come down. It's 19 minutes after 8. Twendekazi.
94.4 Spice FM. Naira.